Black family post-mortem. It comes as no surprise that the black family unit, for all intents and purposes, died at least a generation ago. As we hear ghetto feminists talking about the strength of being a quote baby mama and applauding themselves for their role in making our community one of the most single parent household headed demographics in America, we of course have to look at what this particular broken family unit has produced. A steady stream of inmates, an endless number of disciplinary reports in public school, compounded by even more dismal academic performance. Against such a dire backdrop, a post-mortem, an examination after the death of a subject, is required. You know, I don't get into taking out the pom-poms to do ethnic cheerleading. I know that if we pat black thugs on the head, and if we treat, quote, hoes like housewives, we are the ones who lose. You see, none of these statements or observations are for the benefit of any group or any individual outside of the American black community. Thurgood Marshall did not wear his pants sagging. Clarence Thomas did not leave a trail of babies in Savannah, Georgia, his hometown, and incidentally mine too. Malcolm X only rose to international prominence after he stopped being a thug. In the wake of the institutional change that has happened, and I would say miraculous institutional change, we have people who proudly, happily, and loudly roll the clock back. Or perhaps, if we're even more honest, have taken the community into some sort of perverse parallel universe where everything that's unacceptable is exalted and everything that's acceptable is despised. Again, what has our single parent household driven community produced? Can you point to any one cultural indicator that states that this particular model of organization surpasses a two-parent family? I'm going to pause. No. The only thing it does, of course, is make us even more indebted and further controlled by individuals and institutions outside of our community. As I always say, if you won't govern yourself, somebody else will. No less a visionary than the founder of the Nation of Islam, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, once said, and I think issued a warning for the ages, that a nation can rise no higher than its woman. So whenever you have women reveling in incompatibility and not being able to maintain stable relationships, in refusing to conduct themselves in a dignified fashion at home and in public, then from that particular tree, we must judge its fruit. And the fruit, as I've stated before, and many have, in fact, I would direct you to other commentators who have covered this issue exhaustively. 5723 Michael, who you can find on YouTube, Tommy Sotomayor, who you can find on YouTube, the Doctor of Common Sense, who you can find on YouTube, and Painless Rising, who you can also find on YouTube. This quartet alone have made this issue part of their life's work, because for the Generation X and the late baby boom in the black community, you really only have one choice. If you have an iota of common sense, and if you have a micron of morality, then you have to oppose the ghettoization of our culture. And this opposition has nothing to do with trying to win brownie points figuratively across town with other people. It is our children being stupefied, our streets running red with blood, and our family unit loudly and vulgarly being broken into billions of pieces with little hope of ever being repaired. We have every reason to deny the political correct stance that says that you cannot criticize black women, because if ever there was a time for self-criticism, it's now. Dysfunctional black male behavior has risen, or sunk, I should say, such an epic low that it's become the leading cause of homicide among young men. Dysfunctional black male behavior is played out not just in the cloistered precincts of the inner city, but across multimedia on a daily basis. Our shame, our dirty laundry is aired for the world to see, and sadly, proudly, in too many cases. The black family post-mortem offers very little hope that there will be a resurrection of this particular carcass, because too many of its constituent elements, too many black women and too many black men, enjoy the type of behavior that destroyed the black family in the first place. And in the end, you can't blame slavery. You can't blame people uptown or downtown, depending on where other people happen to live in your particular community. We can only blame ourselves, because this madness sits at the table with many of us, is in many of our family trees, and we who are closest to the problem are the ones best situated to solve it. Perhaps it will be a happy ending to the black family post-mortem, but thus far, I've seen none.